Well, we're here in December, and it means that we need to start thinking ahead for the new year. And if you're looking to thrive in 2025, it means you're going to need a strategy. And what if I told you the strategy that will help you get to the next level in your life is easier than you think? Which is why the title of today's conversation is Writing Your 2025 Vision and Making It Plain. It's great to be back with you for another conversation on the Dream Lifestyle podcast. If you are new here, I'd encourage you to simply hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of our conversations. Today, we're talking about writing your 2025 vision and making it plain. This is important for you because before you want to start the new habit, before you want to start taking the new action, you need to know where you're going, because you can enter a new season of productivity. You can start doing a bunch of new things, but if you don't know where you're going, you will end up lost. It says in the Bible that without vision, the people perish. And the same is true for your life. And it does not matter your faith background. I encourage you to be in faith, but regardless, you need vision for this next year if you want to level up. If you want to see change, you need to create a vision. And that's why it's my goal in this conversation, just to help you with how you're going to handle your goal setting for 2025. Because I find that a lot of people, especially at this time of the year, they either aren't taking their goal setting serious enough for the new year, or they are not going deep enough for their goal setting in the new year. And so it's my goal to simply just give you 3 things that I believe will help you in your goal setting for the next year. And these things are very practical, but I also know that these things are powerful. And so to start off, the first thing, and these are all super, super practical, the first thing that you're going to want to do if you are going to write your vision and make it plain, you are going to need to write your goals where you see them often. Now, we haven't even gotten to what the goal actually is. We just want to be clear with where the goal is going to be put, because you have to understand that you need to actually see this goal throughout the entire year. It does you absolutely no good to write down your vision, write down your goal, and you could make it immaculate. It could be an amazing goal. It could be special to you. But if you only see it when you write it, but then you never see it again until, let's say, next December or next June or whatever the case is, it becomes ineffective. So what I want you to do is I just want you to think about, where are you writing your goals? And this could be, maybe you write it on a whiteboard. Maybe you have a personal journal. Maybe you're going to put it in your Bible, but you need to actually think through and be intentional about where you're writing the goal. And there's 3 benefits as to why we want to be intentional with where we write our goals. The first reason, and I kind of alluded to this, is that it keeps the vision in front of you. It keeps the vision in front of you. Here's the thing. 2025, similar to 2024, is going to be a long year. And I don't mean that negatively. I don't mean that saying it's going to be rough. But what I am saying is there are going to be ups. There's going to be downs. There's going to be seasons of gathering. There's going to be seasons of letting go. There's going to be seasons of holding. You have to be able to keep the vision, what you want to see happen in the new year, in front of you, so that way you can make the most of it. And so by being intentional with where you're writing your goals, whether it's on a sticky note that you have in your bathroom, whether it's on a whiteboard, whether it's in a notebook, wherever you decide to keep it, you need to keep the vision in front of you for the second reason, because it keeps you encouraged. There is nothing like simply being encouraged because you know where you are going. All of us here drive a car, and you would not get in your car if you really had no destination. You'd just be wasting gas in this economy. And so when you think about just where you're trying to go in the new year, you need to have a destination, and you want to make sure that it's always in front of you. It's going to function when you write your goals in a visible place, like a practical GPS. So that way, regardless of whatever detour may happen, whatever challenge may happen, you at least always know where you're trying to end up. And so again, this is very practical, but it starts with simply knowing where you are writing your goals. And then along with keeping you encouraged, having your goals written in a very intentional space helps with your decision making. Listen, there is a reason why there is a new emphasis in office culture and things of that nature surrounding the way in which the office looks, because your workspace, the messages that they have on the walls and the writings and everything like that, it helps keeps you encouraged. They want to make sure that the environment is designed in a way that keeps you productive. It keeps you encouraged. It keeps you feeling good. And this is very practical stuff, because if you have your goals written in a space where you always see them, you are less likely to procrastinate. If you have your goals written in a space where you can always see them, you're less likely to allow your feelings to take control when you have something to do. But it all starts with being able to see your goals often. It's very practical. There's a reason why there's your company's mission statement is on the wall. And this is something, even if you work for yourself, you write your goals and you keep them on your desk. Write your goals and put them in your phone, so that way you always see them as your background or something. But these are just very practical things. So before we even get to what the goal actually is, make sure that the goal is written in a place where you can actually see it very often. And I'm to even be more specific, put it in a place where you can actually see it every day. Because when you see it every day, regardless of whatever happens in the day, you know where you're going. You know where you're going to end up. And that GPS is always going to reroute. It's always going to lead you to whatever it is that you write down. So that's number one. Write your goals where you see them often. Okay. Now, here's how you should think about writing your goals for the new year. All right. Here's how you should think about them. Number two, write goals that are clear. Write goals that are clear. What does that mean? Number one, I want you to write goals that are specific. Write goals that are specific. Meaning, don't just say, I want to do better with my money next year. Don't just say, I want to do better with my health next year. Don't say, I want to get more clients next year. Don't say, I want to take on more responsibility next year. It sounds great. Like, that sounds amazing, but there's no depth to it. There's no meat to it. You have to be specific, meaning that where you can, you need to have some numbers where it's possible. Like, you want to be as specific as possible, as if you had to show these goals to somebody else, they know exactly what you mean. They can know exactly what you're trying to do, because it's specific. Because if you just say, oh, I'm looking to be better next year than I was this year. Well, what does that mean? You want to be a better what? You want to be a better friend? You want to be a better liar? Like, what does that actually mean? So when you're writing out your goals, make sure that they are clear. And it starts with being specific, having numbers. If you have a number, if you want to do better in your finances, put a number on, I want to save this amount of money. I want to generate this amount of money. I want to add at least this much money to my income, whatever it is. Where you can, be specific. All right. I don't want to beat that down too long, but you need to be specific. The second piece of writing goals that are clear is that you want to write goals that are scary to you. Listen, you need to write goals that are worthy of your identity. And that's why self-belief is so important. Because if you aren't writing goals that are worthy of your identity, you will always settle. You will always feel like you're behind. You will never feel like you're actually living the life that you're designed to, because you aren't even setting targets worthy of your destiny. So writing clear goals means that you're also writing goals that kind of make you uneasy even as you write it down, but you still feel led to do it. You're writing down goals that you aren't quite 100% sure how it's going to happen, but you just feel, you know what? I can still get that done. So you want to write goals that are scary to you. And this isn't something to be intimidated by. This isn't something to shy away from. You need to view this, as you're writing down these goals, as a challenge to say, you know what? Who can I become this year to accomplish this scary thing? And think about where your confidence will be when you actually do it, and you've written that goal down and you've kept it in front of you, so you can simply just make the decisions. You can implement the right habits. You can talk to the right people that you need to, so that way this goal, that when you're writing it down now in December, it's a little scary. By the time March rolls around, by the time June rolls around, by the time October rolls around, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, this goal went from scary to probable to very much likely it's going to happen. But it all starts with, again, in this writing process, writing the vision piece, it needs to be scary. So if you want to write a clear goal, that means it also needs to be a scary goal. And then the last part of writing a clear goal is that it needs to be spiritual. Your goal needs to be something that it's called, like you're called to achieve this goal, meaning that it's almost deeper than just, oh, I'm creating a goal that's worthy of me. I'm writing down a goal almost as a form of worship. I'm writing down a goal that is so big that I just feel like I have to get it done. Like there's like some level of burden to get this done. And so that's why I believe it, and this is just me. I'm not pushing my beliefs on you, but what I am saying is that writing down your goals is spiritual because you're here for a reason. You have a purpose on your life, and you have to actually know that. And your goals are simply the vehicle to you accomplishing your purpose, to you walking in your calling. And so when we're writing down these goals, I want you to take it serious and I want you to be clear. And so we have to understand that this is almost a spiritual exercise. This isn't anything motivational. This isn't anything empowering. This isn't anything just practical. This is spiritual. We are creating a plan that will allow us to see the preferred future from our Creator, from God. That's important. So when we're writing out these goals, we need to understand that I need to make sure I see them. Point number one, I see them, but also that they're clear. And they're clear in the sense of it's specific, it's scary, but thirdly and lastly, it is spiritual. Okay, you want to set those types of goals that really get that they challenge you to be better. They challenge you to be more, where it's like, there's no way I can accomplish this goal if I don't get better. That's the type of goals that you want to be setting, and you want to be setting them in a way that really gets you excited. Okay, that's what it means to set a clear goal. So here's what I need you to know about clear goals. Clear goals lead to confident living and immediate action. Clear goals lead to confident living and immediate action. And so, number three, we're answering the question of what makes your goals clear. Number three, it is you write goals that have action steps. And this, I believe, is the missing piece towards a lot of people's visions being made plain. Because it is not enough to just write a vision if you have no plan. It's not enough to say, here's what I'm going to do, without answering, how am I going to get there? If you want to see better in your life, you need to plan for better. You need to figure out the steps. You need to figure out what's going to happen in order for me to get there. And if you aren't creating a plan, then it's impossible for your vision to be plain. So if you want to have a vision that is plain, you're going to need a plan. So when you think about these action steps, here's what you need to know. Your goals should change your consumption. Okay. Your goals should change your consumption. Now, what this means is we're talking about your level of being, meaning that we set a scary goal. We set a spiritual goal. We set a specific goal. Now, these goals, in order to achieve them in the action steps, means that I'm going to change some of the things that I'm consuming, whether it's I'm changing the things I'm listening to, whether it's changing the things that I'm seeing every day, whether it's changing, just again, what is entering my body, what is entering my mind, what's entering my soul. So these action steps, when you just think about, okay, what's going to get me from point A to point B, the first part of that is that it should change your consumption. Like you should not be able to just, say, oh, I'm not a book person, not read any books, but then think you're going to get somewhere. There should be some change in the way in which you consume information, you consume food, the way you consume, just life. There should be a change. So that's part number one, is that your goals should change your consumption. The second part of this is that your goals should also change your environment. So depending on the level that you are at in some way, shape, or form, you will probably need to enter some new rooms if you're going to achieve what's in your heart. Meaning that you're probably going to need to go to some conferences in order to achieve what's in your heart. But again, with this idea of your goals are going to need some action steps, you are going to need to change your environment. Your environment should not stay the same as a result of you pursuing your goals. And these are very practical things. It could be even as simple as just the way you arrange your desk where you work. But at the end of the day, If you want to go to that next level, your consumption is going to need to change and your environment is going to need to change. And that includes some people as well. We can get into that for a later conversation. But lastly, just when you think about your goal having action steps, your goal should also, I should say, change your daily decisions. So it's not enough just to say, okay, my consumption's changing and my environment's changing. You also need to be making daily decisions differently. And this is where we get into our new habits. This is where we get into our morning routines. This is where we get into, our training habits and our belief habits and just what are we doing every single day that will allow me to pursue the vision that I'm looking at every single day, whether it's in a picture form, whether it's written down, whatever the case is. But now we have a plain vision because there's action steps, and we have the vision itself because it's written down in front of us. Now the only thing that's left to do is just walk it out. The only thing left to do is to figure out, okay, what can I do every single day that would lead me to where I want to go? And it really is as simple as that. And so if you're listening to me right now and you've been intimidated by the idea of setting goals for the new year, or you haven't gone as deep as you could, like we described in this conversation, I would encourage you that writing your vision down and making it plain is simpler than you think. It is not as hard as it may seem to write a vision down and take time to create a strategy around it. But the only thing it's going to take on your part to start this process is intentionality. And for you to start being intentional means that you're going to need to start making time for yourself so you can effectively write these things down. So let me just recap everything that we talked about. Okay, let me recap everything we talked about. Then I want to share one more thought with you. Number one, if we want to write our vision and make it plain for 2025, number one, we need to write our goals where you see them often. Number two, you're going to write goals that are clear. And then number three, you're going to write goals that have action steps. Okay. And the one thought that I have for you is simply this: writing the goal creates the vision. Writing the plan makes it plain. And so again, it's easier than you think. Don't be intimidated by setting goals for the new year. Whatever is in your heart to do, write it down, but then make it plain by also creating a plan. And so I hope that this conversation was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm only going to ask you to do two things. That's it. Two things. The first thing, I just want you to share this conversation with someone else. Share this with a friend, family, coworker, whoever it is, someone you care about. And I want you to send this to them as a way to encourage them that whatever goal and dream is in their heart, all it needs is a strategy so that way they can see it in the new year. And then the second thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to download the end of year audit, which is in the description. The link is in there. And all that is, it is 5 simple questions that will help you get a good gauge on how 2024 actually went so you can enter 2025 with some real momentum. And that's all I'm going to ask you to do. That's it. So share this with someone, but then also download that end of year audit because I believe it's going to help you. It's going to ask you 5 easy questions that will truly help you understand. It'll really heighten your awareness around 2024. So there's no recency bias or anything like that. But I am grateful to you for just checking out these episodes, and always know that your dream is possible when you lead yourself well.